prepare yourself.
The opinions of the host and guests on this show are exclusively just that, opinions. That means that they shouldn't be the cause of your state of being offended. Why does everybody get so butthurt?
Okay, let's go. Ready, go!
Welcome to And God Created Woman, where the arguments are necessary for the best make-up sex of your life. Unless you're single, and then we suggest you just go fuck yourself.
All right, and God Created Woman podcast. We're back for another episode, and today we've got it's Claude Racine Valinsky.
Hi.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna have a conversation today. Here's who you are. You help moms build real confidence through discipline, self-care. You were a professional dancer for 18 years. You're the CEO of Glow Up with Claude. I came across your stuff where I liked it because we had a mutual thing we'll talk about on another podcast. Saw your stuff, wanted you on a podcast because you've got phenomenal fucking energy. You've got this great presence. You do a lot of great things to help women. And I'm like, dude, come on for a podcast. And you're like, yes, I will.
Yes, please.
So thank you so much for doing that. Number one, we're going to talk about some topics today that I think are in your wheelhouse. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to get your answers on them. I just want to explore your head, but give everybody a 360-degree view of who you are and what you're passionate about.
So my name is Claude, and I am an ex-professional dancer of 18 years, and I went through horrible postpartum depression and anxiety 2 years ago after I had my son, and it just propelled me into this fucking gangster version of myself. I literally just didn't do anything for a year and was suicidal for almost a year. And one day I was like, I can't do this anymore. And so I created this system where I just went full balls in, laser focus on getting myself better. I was 35 pounds overweight. I needed to lose the weight. I needed to get undepressed and find a job, because when COVID happened, it totally shut down the entertainment industry. And I was at home, in postpartum depression, I need something to do. And network marketing fell into my lap, and I took that. And through doing my makeup and doing skincare, I started to feel better. And then I started exercising. And then I was like, yo, this mindset that I have is I'm just a gangster, and I got to teach other women how to do that. So that's my little story in short.
I want to take the deep dive first about your industry. Were you talking professional dancers? You were classic jazz, ballet, entertainment purposes. Okay. You weren't the other kind that us guys make it rain for. That being said, no. That's stressful as all hell. You guys are unbelievably harsh on yourself. That's a bad industry. I mean, meaning it's a bad industry as far as for personal pressure and competitiveness. You're athletes. Yeah. Athletes. That being said, was it chemical postpartum depression, and then you were experiencing weight gain from pregnancy? It's not the dancer's body that you guys put yourself through. What was the catalyst for that?
I mean, I was 38 when I had my son. And I think living my life for so long as a dancer, traveling, doing what I wanted, the hormones crashing, and then my whole life just changing in such a major way. I mourned my old life I was just in tears every day and anxious about the future. I felt like I had made the biggest mistake of my life. And because I was in that constant state of sadness and I just ate whatever I wanted. I drank wine, beer every single day, just found the comfort in that. And then next thing you know, I'm 35 pounds overweight, got diagnosed with Hashimoto's, and it was so hard to lose weight. I was one day I decided I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to go to the gym. Did that for a year and couldn't lose a pound. And I was like, what is happening to my body? And like you said, as a dancer, that's the one thing you have control of is your body. And I had no control over my mind, my body, nothing.
You're going to be a perceived expert in the field for helping people. Like I said, you're helping them build confidence through discipline. So confidence I'll ask you, is confidence a developed skill through discipline, or is it just something you're born with?
I think I think we're born with it. I think it is ripped away from us. Maybe not all of our parents fucked us up, but I do think most of our parents ripped away our innate confidence as a child. So as an adult, to find that back, you do need massive discipline. You need to create a system for yourself that is non-negotiable, that you do every single fucking day. And like when you show up for yourself like that, you're like, the confidence is like, wow, I did that. I said no to the pizza. I said no to the beer. I said no to the drugs. I said no to everything, all the comfort. And then you just start feeling like a freaking badass. And when I had postpartum, I realized I didn't have a choice but to get up and show up for my son. I didn't fucking want to. I wanted to blow my fucking head off, like for real. But I just was like, I have to get up for Nova. I have to breastfeed him. I hated every minute of doing that. A lot of women like it. I did not. And I realized I just faced everything I didn't want to face every day. And then at the end of it all, you're like, wow, I did that.
I want to I don't want to learn from, if I want to lose weight at 47 years old, I'm not going to listen to a 25-year-old trainer who can eat pizza and ice cream and get ripped, right? I want a guy who's been through my shoes. On these podcasts, it is about my guests coming on, but I get personal. So if we're going to listen to you as the expert, I want to know some shit.
Okay.
I want to hear what it was like. Again, I dated a professional, classically trained dancer when I was in my 20s, and the pressure that woman put on herself was insane. She was it blow. I don't come across too many of them. Those who are in this industry, they're almost an elevated level of this. I'm going to qualify what I'm about to say. Narcissist, because they're so fucking good at what they do with the control of their body, the line, the image. They walk into a room and it's instant, all eyes on them, just for the persona they give in. I want to hear what it was like, and I'm not calling you a narcissist. I'm saying that it's an egocentric pride factor. You had your kid at 38. I want to kind of hear the deep dive to where did you spiral out to where was your child a planned pregnancy? Was it how did it affect you and your husband? Did you begin to get a little bit resentment of all of a sudden you've been doing this for almost 4 decades and then it was taken away from you? What was the cause of the depression to where you had to adapt? It was a new change, new identity. You're a mom. How did that affect you?
I mean, I hated it. I literally hated it. I hated that I couldn't like cuddle with my husband anymore. I hated that I couldn't just go on a motorcycle ride with him anymore. I hated that I was like at the mercy of this tiny human who needed me all the time. I had no freedom, no space. I had no choice. And my husband, I couldn't work. I couldn't work at first because every 2 hours you're breastfeeding. It just ripped my life away as I knew it, everything I knew as a free dancer who did travel all over the world and got to go wherever I wanted, whenever. I was bound to my bed all the time. And I missed my relationship with my husband. We did everything together before because he's also a dancer and a choreographer. And we would work out together, eat together, sleep together, like shower together, go to rehearsal together. We did everything together. And when Nova was born, I got to see him almost never because he would have to go work and I was at home. And then at night, Nova wouldn't really sleep alone at first. Like most babies, they're used to being in this little. So we would take shifts. So I never got to like just cuddle with my husband and I just missed it. Like I wanted it back so bad.
Do you think did your marriage suffer at all? Did you build resentment at all?
Oh yeah.
What was the identifiers to where it's easy for people to wind up a lot of moms will make the child first in the relationship and then the husband complains that it was most husbands talk like you're talking right now. And then the kid comes along as the husband who resents what's happening because they don't have the wife anymore. You're representing almost a masculine type of issue. And
yeah.
I never got married and I never had children, so I don't know the dynamic of losing my partner like that, especially in an age where, hey, we're closing in on 40s. What was the catalyst where you identified this was a problem, and then how did you handle it to prevent it from snowballing into a much bigger resentment issue?
Well, 2 weeks after my son was born, my husband looked at me. He's like, Claude, you got to get it together, because I had so much anxiety about him leaving me. I was like, please don't go. Like, please don't go work. Please don't go ride your motorcycle. Like, if I can't, you can't. And he said that to me. And I realized that that made me feel a lot worse. And I needed to really open up to him and be like, hey, by the way, I literally picture myself going to get your gun and blowing my head off like all day long. That's how serious this is. I don't really know what's happening, but I need your help. And so from that day on, my husband understood the severity of it, and he's wonderful. And so he would take me on walks and, help me a little bit more. He was also sad that he lost the woman that he had. Like, he was also like, you're not the Claude that I knew. And I was like, I know. And it took me almost 2 years to get out of that place.
Talk about the importance. You're married. A lot of people are not. They're going to wind up dealing with the issue you are in, or a lot of people won't have the support of a spouse that you have in. Was it that crucial? Or, I mean, are people going to listen to you and say, all right, she's going to teach how to build confidence. She had an unbelievably supportive spouse. She's got a leg up. Talk about the hurdles from your experience of having a supportive spouse, or was there any guilt issue that you were kind of dragging him through this too?
Oh, that was one of the reasons I every day I would like try to just act okay, because I didn't want to put the heaviness of what I felt on him or Nova, like especially my son. But at the end of the day, like, somebody can say, hey, Claude, go take a walk. You need to work out, but doesn't mean you're going to do it. And I would literally be in tears forcing myself to work out in the fucking garage because it was COVID. We couldn't go anywhere. And I just knew I had to like keep going, like little steps forward. So yeah, maybe you don't have a helpful spouse, but you have yourself. And I had myself. I had to get myself up on my feet and out the door and in the garage and out on that walk. I didn't have to.
Would it have been a different route or a little bit easier if you were alone? Do you think that you wouldn't have had the guilt of trying to, drag somebody else down with you?
Oh, I mean, yeah. And I'm really good at that too. I'm a Scorpio. And so like we take on all the fucking, like, it's me. I'm going to go in my room all by myself. I'm going to stay away from everybody and not put this. We're so heavy. Sometimes it could get heavy. I'm glad I had him, but it was fucking hard, like trying to not put that on him and Nova.
All right.
But
So go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You identified this problem, and it's a real legitimate problem. And you have a more complex problem because you're giving up an identity from the past, and now you're taking on a new identity. And then there's that kind of like, it's not like you had a kid at 25 or 28. 38 is established. That's your identity established. So now it's more meaningful and it's a harder journey. Where was the moment that you kind of saw a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel that you're like, all right, this is the direction I need to take?
When I started my direct sales journey, I started doing something for me every day, and like washing my face and putting a little makeup on and connecting with people online. I started to feel like, oh, okay, there is a light here. Also, it helps when your child starts to sleep a little bit more like regularly. I'm a type A, like I need a schedule. So once my son started sleeping more regularly, I started to feel the lift of like, I hate to say burden, but that's how it fucking felt for a whole year.
I hear that. I don't think there's anything wrong with people acknowledging that. It's just, I have a toddler niece who's 2.5. And I keep telling myself, you could never have kids at this point because I can't keep up with the burden of what this child is when I watch her. Where did the passion for helping others come into play?
It came in when I decided one day to just share what I had gone through. I was not able to share while I was going through it on social media. Like I couldn't be on social media. I hated whatever. And I shared my story, and all these women were like, wait, what? I went through that too. And I never talked about it and I couldn't talk about it. And then I started seeing all these women message me and thank you, thank you, thank you. And I thought, wow, like now I just got to keep showing up because apparently this is a taboo subject. And I didn't know it was taboo. Like it just was what I went through. And I was just going to be honest about that.
No, nobody wants to talk about weaknesses. And all of a sudden you're identifying it. But now you go from almost 2 years of having resentment for you're responsible for another little human being and then repairing the marriage that you had. And now all of a sudden you've got people on social media who want your time and whatnot. Do you think that going through what you went through in that 2-year process prepared you for dealing with the stressors and attention that others needed you on?
Absolutely. It made me into the person that other people needed. Like it was so kind of superficial, me being on social media before. You said dancers are egotistical. Like you have to be. It's about you. I have to go in that room and beat out 200 other brunettes with nice bodies. Like I have to be all about me. And then this whole experience, I actually used to have a mindset training for dancers called Zero Fucks to try and help women stop giving a fuck when you're like at auditions, don't compare yourself. But I never had the substance or the experience, like the trauma to back that up. They're like, well, how? I'd be like, just stop giving a fuck. But now when I actually went through something traumatic, something that almost destroyed me, now I can say, hey, I've been there and here's how the fuck I got out. So that prepared me to be able to actually guide people from actual experience, not just talk.
So one of the things that we need to identify is that your trauma became one of your biggest strengths and your background with discipline, because dancers, you guys are so disturbingly disciplined, that helped you catapult to the next level. So it's a good thing when people go through this. Do you tell people who come to you with types of trauma that what you're going through is a almost like a callousing process?
Yeah, I tell them it's their biggest blessing. It sucks. It sucks so hard, but just know it's going to propel you into the best version of yourself if you let it.
When did you go ahead?
Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good.
If you do the work, you can't just like, my skin turns crazy red when I talk, by the way, but you can't just lay there. I always make this analogy, like God will, if you're drowning in the ocean, God will help you to the freaking shore, but you better fucking swim. Like you have to be willing to do the work. And that's what I teach is the work to get out of there.
There's so much I want to talk about now. You know, we've established you and your background. I want to hear about where you're passionate. Confidence is something that you've talked about a few times now. I want to hear why is confidence important? We're in a day and age now where you're supposed to be humble. You're supposed to have humility. We're taught in a lot of business. You're in the same industry I am, and we know that we're accused of being narcissists, but you can't get ahead in any industry unless you have that level of ego. How do you convey the importance of being confident in anything that you do?
We have been taught to be humble, to don't have a big head, blah, 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 blah. That's suppressive as fuck. Like you have to be your number one fan. You have to be your number one believer. And there's a really big difference between narcissism and confidence. And I think we probably need to define those two words. And people who view it as narcissistic are just insecure in themselves. They don't have any confidence in themselves, and they can't handle the level of self-love and respect that we have.
Talk about that. Define that. What's the difference? Because I get accused of being a narcissist all the time, and I'm aware. I'm a retired cop. I know that I have narcissistic tendencies, but I also said for years, I know I have a big ego. I know my capabilities, but I'm kind to people. Now, I'm not a nice man, but I'm very kind to people. So what is the difference between narcissistic tendencies and confidence and how it's misperceived?
Oh, man. Narcissistic to me is someone who isn't doing the work and telling you what to do. That's like telling you how to have success from their friend's couch they're living on. That's narcissism. Like narcissism is not being able to see past self. So your reality is everything that's going on with you, and you should do this, and you should be like this, and you should do that. There's a different kind of narcissism where it's like an emotional narcissism where my emotions matter the most always. So if you're sad, fuck that. You hurt my feelings. You hurt me, 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 me. You don't seem narcissistic at all. I don't know you, but you are confident. You don't give a fuck. And people mistake that for narcissism. Confidence is knowing oneself. Like I know who Claude is. I know my downfalls. I know my strengths. I'm not afraid to show my downfalls. It's knowing my point of view. So no matter what you say, I'm not budging from that. I know my perspective. I know my point of view. And it all comes from a place of actual like love. Narcissism is like hate. You can feel the difference.
Where does the empathy come in? Most people, when they're going to start on a journey like you, if they're going to listen to a title only, and Claude's got this program, Give Zero Fucks in X, Y, and Z. When we take this journey, we often go to the extreme, right? I don't fucking care about anybody, but the people who come from this, we also have that tendencies to be empathetic, and we still want to serve others. Where is the balance when you're starting your journey of coming from a place of no confidence to building confidence, but still caring and serving others? Is it something you recommend just cut off, do for yourself first, balance it out? Is there danger in still being empathetic? How do you talk to people about managing giving too much of themselves when they're trying to recover who they are?
Like giving themselves too much to
anybody else, because most people out there are leeches. We've always been in an age where what more can you do for me? And those, I think, the biggest people who are drained, they're the ones who just give the most. And we're trying to teach people. Everybody talks about it. I give zero fucks. Do you really? Do you really? Giving zero fucks is a painful place to be because you're going to have to cut some people off. But it doesn't mean you're not empathetic. I'm almost 50. It took me a long time to find that balance, and I don't know how I got there. You're going to have to teach people, don't lose your love for others, don't lose your caring for others, but you still have to put yourself first because you can't give what you don't have. How do you approach that balance?
Whew. I mean, I believe that if you've been playing over here for so long, you have to go all the way the fuck over here. And you almost have to retrain that muscle. Like you don't know how to balance right here yet. So I have to take you all the way over here and have you focus on you 100%. Moms are like the biggest victims of this, of giving themselves away, putting themselves on the back burner. I do everything for my kids. They need this, and they never take care of themselves. So most of my clients actually are moms. And I'm like, you have to wake up at this time and you're going to do this morning routine every single day so that before you even start being a mom, you have filled your fucking cup. And then once you start to like really be over here and you know what it means to take care of yourself, then we can be over here and be like, okay, I know what it's like to love myself first and love others. But you can't really love others if you don't love yourself first.
Did you ever lose yourself in the process? Did you ever like regress and you thought that there was like a faux confidence you had? You're going through this process and you're learning how to teach others. Did you ever look and go, man, I'm full of shit. I don't believe when I'm talking myself down.
I don't know that I ever thought I was full of shit, but there are moments where I'm like, am I fully there to be able to tell somebody? Am I fully there? Because I still have days where, I don't feel the best. And then I go, who am I to be telling somebody what the fuck to do? But I have to push through that, right? The only way out is through. And I really do trust and believe in myself that no matter what, if you come to me, you're going to leave better than you were 5 minutes ago.
Did that wind up helping you? Because for me, when you help others, all of a sudden you do find a lot of value. It's one of the things I loved about being a cop. It wasn't the power. It wasn't the amendment ability to take away someone's freedom or life. I loved fucking solving people's problems because I felt good about myself being there for other people. It's dangerous, but did you see any reward from that?
Absolutely. And my clients keep me accountable. Like if I don't show up, if I don't do what I'm telling you to do, I'm a fraud. So I do get up every day at 5 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday. I go to bed every night at 9:30. I work out. I'm at the gym every single day. I journal. I read in the morning, just like I tell my clients to. I don't drink. I count my macros every day, like I tell them. And that's it. Like they keep me so accountable because I show up for them now.
Identify 3 external problems that we have that affect confidence. They could be general as hell. What do you think are the 3 biggest external factors that can affect somebody's confidence level, that can fuck up who they are?
Caring what people think, not taking care of yourself, and not having a system to fall back on when shit hits the fan. That's it. Those 3 things right there.
Let's break down each 3. Caring what people think. I mean, I personally, it does. I don't care what level I'm at. I'll never eradicate that. I don't give a fuck what people think. Well, then why are you reading that person's comment? I ran for office out here in Chicago. It was a great fucking lesson to see betrayal and really having to not give a shit about what people think. I came from a very toxic industry in law enforcement, crab in the bucket like crazy. I can't say that I don't care what people think. Mm-hmm. But what they say will affect me far shorter in duration than it has before. I always fear the day that I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. I become a sociopath. In that context, how do people tackle on the 0 fucks given without just posting a meme and letting that have the effect of 5 minutes, and then they go right back into the well of giving a shit what people think about them?
Yeah. Well, 2 things. You're absolutely right. Like it's impossible to absolutely not care, but it's what do you do even though that might have affected you? Do you crumble? Do you completely let it take over you and change how you feel? Or do you acknowledge it and be like, okay, that sucks, but I'm going to keep going? That's A. And then B, well, you just hold on. I lost my train of thought. Would you just ask me?
We were talking about how to deteriorate over time, the effect of caring what people think about them. Action.
You just got to go into action. You have to go work out. You have to read. You have to do the things, the self-care things. You have to go into action. Like one of the things I learned is if you do start to feel like low frequency or doubt yourself, like start doing some fucking burpees. My mentor, Wes, like that's what he teaches, to go into action. If you miss a workout, it's about stacking wins from the minute you wake up. If you hit snooze, you already lost. If you skip your breakfast, loss number 2. Don't go to the gym, loss number 3. Scroll mindlessly on Instagram for an hour, loss number 4. It's like 9 a.m. and you've lost 4 times already. So imagine how much you're not going to trust or believe in yourself because you don't ever follow through with what you say you're going to do.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. If we're talking about state change, you're talking about keeping your state at a certain level, right?
Well, like, yes, like your frequency, your vibration.
Is there a burnout risk for that? I mean, so I'm not very big on, I hate motivation. Discipline is everything. Motivation, yes. I fucking hate. So, yes. I'm so polarized, it's ridiculous. If I'm, a student of yours and I'm like, Claude says, if you hit the snooze button at 4 a.m., you lost. Fuck it. I'm staying in bed till 7 then because I lost for the day. I'm black and white, right? So I know that there has to have been discipline at it. Is there a potential adverse effect too by hitting that snooze and saying, fuck it, I get up and going to the gym and doing this and keeping my state that high? Can I crash from that?
Your mind, first of all, your body can handle anything. And I truly believe I've been doing it Wes has been doing it for 15 years. My mentor, Wes Watson, he doesn't crash or burn out. And I think the mind is very powerful. If you think, oh, I'm going to crash, I'm going to burn out. When am I going to burn out? You anticipate it. Okay, it's going to happen. But if that's just your way of being, what's the difference in waking up at 5 and 7? What's the bad part about going to the gym? How are you going to burn out? Now, do you need rest? Yes. I'm a huge believer. I go to bed at 9 p.m., 9:30 p.m. latest every night and get 7 hours of sleep at least. So I don't believe you can burn out. There is an endless amount of energy available to us. It's whether our mind is keeping up with that or not.
Well, you would think that we can sustain depression and a lost state of mind all day long. So why the hell can't we?
I love that.
It's the polar opposite of it. So we know the importance of physiology. Your physiology absolutely does synergistically dictate your psychology and vice versa. The third tenet that you talked about, dive into that one.
What was that? Oh, the system. So if you have like a business, you need systems in the business for it to work. You need something like some organization, a system of how you start the day and how you process every processes. Same thing with your personal life. I think a lot of people just wake up and they're just kind of going through the motions, letting life control them as opposed to instilling a system and a process in their life and taking control of life. Like what happens when you're an adult is now you have this thing called power of choice and you can make your own decisions, and people are making bad ones every day. They have no systems. So you instill a system with positive habits, non-negotiable. Like if somebody comes to Vegas, that's where I live, and they come here all the time. Hey, Claude, we're going to a show tomorrow. It's at 9 p.m. Not going. My bedtime is 9:30. So I am that strict with my system. That's like, hey, Dominic, I'm not going to pay you next Friday. Okay. I'm going to wait till the next Friday. You'd be like, no, that's not, absolutely not. But people don't take themselves and their life that seriously, but I do. And that's what brings me the most confidence and the most like sureness in who I am.
All right. Let's plug you really fast. Where can people want to find you? You are on Instagram, Glow Up with Claude.
Yep.
Talk about what you do and services that you work with clients on.
So I do a couple things. I do Bellamy, which is a skincare and makeup company, direct sales company. So I love to help women elevate their skincare and makeup game. And then I also do online coaching. It's a mind, body, and soul growth coaching where I teach discipline and implementing the correct systems and processes into your life to gain that confidence, to be the mom you want to be, the wife you want to be, the motherfucker woman you want to be. And yeah, those are the two things I do.
And people can find you on Instagram, right? Glow Up with Claude?
Glow Up with Claude. That's right.
All right, let's go back to we talked about the catalyst that started you on this journey. It was, the birth of your son, all this happens. Where was the other side of the fence where all of a sudden you saw some real damn good stuff happening from the discipline and the progress you made? And was it all of a sudden, or was it like just a trickle effect from like a faucet?
It was slow from when I started direct sales, and started implementing those, like the makeup, the skincare. It was like slow. I was starting to feel better. I had something to do. I was helping people, which helped fulfill, I felt like I had a purpose other than, this is going to sound terrible, but other than just being a mom and a wife all day. I'm not that woman. Like I can't do it. And then one day I'm at this gathering with my husband, and this cute blonde girl with the best ass I've ever seen comes like running out in her bathing suit. And I'm like, mind you, I've been trying to lose weight for like a year and a half and can't. And I'm like, I'm going to see if she's like a personal trainer. I start talking to her and she says, I'm a functional nutritionist. And I was like, oh, I have Hashimoto's. And she goes, has anybody ever done a stool test? I said, no. She's like, that's where it's all rooted. So I started working with her, and that's when my confidence, because she had me doing some shit. Dominic, I had to eliminate gluten, dairy, soy, all the fun foods that people love.
Did she have you on coffee enemas too? My friend of mine who's in the industry, we had her on a show that we do during the night, and I actually did a coffee enema on air. That was, she's like, you got to do these once a week. I'm like, no, I did it 6 months ago. I'm good. But I keep there. The benefits about your gut is your second brain.
Yep. Yeah. And working with her is when I started implementing these non-negotiable things. Like I didn't cheat. For 6 months, I had no alcohol, no gluten, no dairy. And that's while people are motherfucking eating pizza around me, drinking beer by the pool and wine at dinner. And I'm sitting there like,
Do you have this discipline, or is that something you had to work? Well, no, it's kind of, all right. Yeah, you did have this discipline because you were an athlete, a dancer, a professional. So, all right, a lot of people don't. I want to talk about, people are going to go, Claude, it was easy for you to rebound. You spent 30 years dancing and you could lose weight when you chose to. How are you going to be like, all right, well, let's talk about your individual issue? A, do you have a plan of attack for people who have that almost weak mindset that need the nurturing? And B, where are your limits working with people who how your industry is. They come to you for therapy and they don't put in the work and there is no progress. Where do you cut that off and how does it affect you?
Well, they're either going to do the work or they're not. And I have had to learn that that's not necessarily my responsibility is to give you the tools, which I do. My responsibility is to be there for you, show up for you the way that I promise you I will, and I do. And if you're going to still not do the work, that's where I draw the line. Like I told my client last week, we will not have our weekly call if you cheat again this week, because she's like, I got to have a little bite of this. No, the fuck you don't. Well, I'm going to hurt my mom's feelings. She cooked these cookies and I don't give a fuck about your mom and the cookies she cooked. What about you and your goals? Sorry.
No, you're fine.
It's interesting. I don't care about that I was a dancer, that you're this. We are all the same. We are all capable of the same thing. What I don't do is I don't go into the limiting beliefs that people put on themselves. I refuse. I don't do it. I say, here are the tools and you can do it. I check in on my clients almost every day. There are some who it was easy for them to instill the discipline. Some it's harder, but I just keep showing up for them and keep reminding them of the tools and keep reminding them that everything else is just bullshit. Nobody says it like that. They're too afraid to hurt people's feelings, but it is bullshit.
Well, yeah, you come from an industry where I'm certain that there have been people who, well, you guys make cuts and you're not good enough and this and that. I want to find out what's your drug, meaning I'm competitive by nature, so I have to have a high. When I stopped competitive wrestling, I missed the spotlight and the people in the stands, and it's you. Either you get your ass kicked or you kick someone's ass, and then it was speeding 110 miles an hour down the road to go get a bad guy. And then I don't have that, right? I'm constantly searching for the next high, and there are times I'm like, will I ever get that feeling again of what it was like to just pick someone up, throw them in the air, slam them down, and everybody cheers from the stands? I'm trying to constantly fulfill that. You, stage, spotlight, competition, the rush of it. Do you miss that? And how do you fulfill that being somebody who is competitive?
I do miss the actual part of being on stage or live shooting something on set. Everything else about the dance industry, I don't miss at all. It's really nasty out there. Mm-hmm. So I do miss that being live aspect, and I've replaced it with how many people can I help this month? How many people? I'm a numbers person, and I just I give myself these insane goals, and then I just tackle them down. Daily goals. Did I talk to 5 people today about my program? Did I help 5 women feel better with some good ass skincare instead of Walgreens bullshit? That's where my competitive, I just compete with myself now. Can I beat my last month's fucking numbers? And it's so fun. I'm obsessed with it.
How are you seeing the progress in delivering? Because dance or any athleticism is an expression, right? And now we're in a day and age where we're in front of cameras or behind cameras, and we're sitting still, standing still, trying to deliver what you as a dancer would express through nonverbal communication. How are you now being fulfilled, helping people who it's a big uphill battle? I'm always going to come back to that, right? People suck to a degree, but how are you getting that fulfillment to recharge your batteries to constantly go back out there and keep giving?
Well, the gym is a big one. music. I used to do these like makeup videos where one day I was at the gym and I heard a song and I imagined like these crazy like transitions with makeup, and I was able to get creative that way. I haven't done one in a while, but I feel so fulfilled with the work that I'm doing now. It's almost like I don't need it. Like people ask me, do you miss dancing? I really don't miss it that much. I really don't. I feel the purpose of a dancer, I don't know, like, yes, there is its place, but I just always wanted more. Even my first dance job, my first big dance job was a musical at the Kodak Theater with Val Kilmer played Moses. It was the 10 Commandments. And I would look at the singers and be like, I want that job. I don't want to be back here. And, you know, dancers, we have the most discipline, we work the hardest, and we get paid the least. So I spent most of my dance career being like, what more can I do? And now I'm like doing it. I'm actually helping people. Like, how can I help somebody through dance? My husband and I do little TikToks and it makes people feel good. And I love that. But I'm so fulfilled on a much higher level now.
It's very odd. There's probably five. You're the fifth woman I know who comes from a classically trained background of performance and dance. All of you to some degree have gone into some type of therapy to helping others.
That's crazy.
It is very crazy. And it's just weird to me. I knew a woman who went into dance therapy. She went into teaching children how to express their trauma through the art of movement. Another woman went into psychology and helping people with behavioral issues. Another woman was into the health aspects of changing limiting beliefs. And then, here you are talking about confidence. What do you think it is about going from a very egocentric based, expressive, artistic format to helping others and putting yourself on the back burner? That's a drastic transition. How do you think that's attained?
I mean, we take a fucking beating.
Mm-hmm.
We take beatings all day long. Like I look back and I go, man, the amount of times that I was yelled at because whoever is on set thinks they can fucking talk at people like that because you're so-and-so. I mean, my heart has been broken over and over again by celebrities who I love who are just not nice. Okay. And you're just treated like shit, really. Most of the time. I've had jobs where I wasn't. Nobody gives a fuck about you. So I think all of that, like, it is to a certain degree abuse. And now it's like, okay, that's not cool. Like, let me help other people who, they may not have the same journey I had, but everyone's gone through some shit. And who better to help you than people who have just been beaten to a pulp?
All right, the last 15 minutes or so, I always like to talk about problem solution on a general scale, and then we can kind of narrow it down from there. Give me things that now that you're in this path and profession that you see collectively, all of us, or men or women or whatnot, that you see all of us doing to sabotage our personal growth. What do you think one of the biggest things is?
Giving into all the vices and the comforts. Giving into all the shit that keeps you comfortable. Oh, I'm a mom and I had the hardest day with the kids I chose to have. And so I'm going to have wine. Oh, I'm just going to, I'm so tired. I got my period. I'm not going to go to the gym. Oh, I'm going to, I earned this cupcake. All the comfort is like, it's holding you back from everything you want. Get fucking uncomfortable and do all the shit you don't want to do.
How bad does that make you? How do I phrase this? You're going to be an outsider. People, you're going to get it's easier to be fat and lazy. It's more comfortable to be fat and lazy. Women are like piranhas at feeding time, right? If you insult them, they'll all come together and whatnot. But you're going to deal with women who will be like, look at you. You look like that. You're built like that. You don't know what we're like. We've discussed how you don't let it affect you, but now you've got to turn that into energy to fighting for. You're swimming upstream like a salmon in this industry to help people. So if you've identified that problem, what's the first thing you could tell somebody who's listening is like, I have that problem. And I look at my favorite influencer and we mock here's the bottle. Glass of wine. They put a glass on a bottle of wine. They drink it. How are you getting people into the first steps of improving discipline towards confidence?
I mean, first of all, like, I love the fuck out of you, out of everybody. And I say what I say because I know how horrible it feels to be where they are. And people will always say, like, well, you weren't really that fat. Like, I was fat and miserable and swollen and sick. Was that your question? Can you ask me again?
Yeah. How do you're going to be swimming uphill, right? You're going to meet resistance. It is so easy for people to sit there and say, have a glass of wine, and that glass of wine's a bottle. Every problem that you're talking about is amplified now by our phones. And why would I go to the gym when, you know what, now we don't body shame anymore. We endorse being fat. And we know that the society wants fat, lazy, easy, controllable people. But people still, they inherently know it doesn't feel good to be fat. It doesn't feel good to be lazy. It doesn't feel good to be confidence. How are you breakthroughing to these people and getting them on step number one for this journey?
I'm just calling it out as it is. I'm making them look at themselves. Like, of the truth of it. Because I don't even think they're being honest with themselves. So I'm saying the truth, making you look at it. And trust me, I've been canceled already for that. But I still have women who come to me, even though I say the things I say, and they're like, you're right. I can't be like this. I speak to the mom who, you're not going to be able to play with your kids in 5 years if you continue down that road. Don't you want better for yourself? Don't you want better for don't you want to be a better spouse? Like, people want this stuff. They're just not sure what is holding them back. So I'm literally just putting it in your face. This is what's holding you back.
You said that you love people, right? You're going to love them. Come on, you're full of shit. You can't possibly love people like that. Is it a choice? Are you actively choosing to go out there and give people what you think they should have? Like, I'm a cynic. Talk about that for a second and how you approach that.
What do you mean?
Meaning, like I don't love you. When people come to me, they're not going to get, like, my style for leading anything. My team, the people I teach, anything else. I don't fucking love you. I'm not your friend. I'm not going to give you the love that your parents should have given you. I'm unempathetic in that aspect because it makes me uncomfortable. I'll flat out admit that, because I grew up in an Italian household that was the least affectionate on the planet. And the only way I know how to get people to succeed is through that hard pressure. It's how I was raised. It's how I was coached. It's how I was in law enforcement. Nobody fucking loves you. Pick yourself up and go forward. Now, you're talking about something that is foreign to me. How do you go out and just love total strangers without asking anything in return?
Well, without you knowing it, you being hard on them like that because you want better for them is you loving them. You may not be able to, like, admit that out loud because it's not how you were raised or it's not what you know, but that is actual love. You wanting the best out of these people and you doing what you know is going to get them to do the best is loving them. And I can't help anybody if I don't love myself and if I don't love everyone. Like, we're all connected. I don't even know you, but, like, I love you and I love even the people who are so mean to me. I understand why they're doing that and I love them, and it's okay. I don't need you to love me back to love you.
So it's a choice and it's an action. It's not a feeling. You are choosing to offer love out there for people.
And I love that you said that. Yes. In marriage, this is what happens. Like, you don't feel for your spouse the way you felt the first year or two, especially after you've gone through some shit together. The relationship changes, but I choose to love my husband every day. Like, he's my soulmate. I may not feel like, oh my God, these crazy in love butterflies and, like, just love his penis so much like I did, 8 years ago. But I choose to love him. Like, I choose to show up for him, that he's my partner, that we're in this together. And I choose to show up for everyone like that. Like, we're in this together. I'm only as good as you are.
Let's talk about the man's role in this. One of the things that you are is you definitely want to coach women, moms. How can men be supportive of the work you're doing to their spouses or significant others as you're trying to work with them? What are some things that your husband did that was awesome that you try to convey to the male counterpart on this? Hey, listen, this is where you need to be supportive and understanding.
I don't really talk about that too much, and that's a really, really good point. I do help my clients when like things come up for them, and if you really show up unapologetically and non-negotiably, your partner has no choice but to kind of like go with you. I always say, communicate to your partner, this is what I'm doing. You're not asking, you're saying, this is what I'm doing, it's best for me. And I mean,
have you run across that problem yet where, you got a husband going, oh, ever since you started working with Claude, you've changed, and and then now they're insecure and they're jealous, and then they're trying to sabotage who they are to get their wife back the way they want them to?
Yes. And I dealt with that a little bit with my own husband. When I came out of depression, it's like everybody wants to be the savior, like I'm the one who's got my head on straight, and I'm helping my wife get out of what she's at. And then once the wife is doing it on her own, and look at all this confidence, like that's scary. It's like, oh shit, now what's my role as a husband? Oh no, like she doesn't need me anymore. But you just keep going, like literally, unapologetically keep going. My husband was like, oh, okay, I'm either on board with this or Claude's just going to leave, I'll
ask you this, and we'll finish up with this, and I'd love to have you back on again for more of this kind of conversation.
Sure.
Again, it's Glow Up with Claude over on Instagram. She's got a program please plug up everything you're doing. I want you to talk about it.
Glow Up with Claude on Instagram, and I have it's a body, mind, and soul growth coaching program, mainly directed towards moms and women who have lost themselves, who have no confidence, who can't lose the weight, who don't know how to put themselves first. And I teach you how to create systems and processes in your life to regain that confidence through your own discipline that you are in control of, that you are cause over. And then I also do skincare and makeup and health and wellness, because you need all of it.
I want this coming from a woman, a strong woman. You clearly do not seem like a feminist. So I want men to hear, what would your suggestion to men? We live in a day and age now where it's cancel culture for men, masculinity's in the toilet, believe all women, toxic masculinity, all this. How can men, because we have that innate breeding in us to protect and provide and be there. Now you're empowering women, and you're teaching women they don't need men. But believe it or not, we like to be fucking needed. We want to be the rock where you had said, your husband's like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be the catalyst for your improvement. I can relate to that. It's a hero complex we have. We do want to feel important, but we also want the respected growth, because we don't want servants, we want partners. So how does a female like you, if you're projecting and talking to men out there saying this is what you need to do to accept that your woman is improving, to choose you, not leave you, how do you tell men to adapt or adopt a new mindset to being more functionally better for a stronger version of a woman that they've already dealing with?
Level up yourself, drop the vices yourself, go to the gym yourself. My mentor is a fucking savage, Wes. He'll be like, men shouldn't have tits. And he's right. I never said we don't need men. I need a man in my life, and I want a man in my life. I'm scared when my husband leaves town and I have to sleep alone. So as a man, you better be in fucking shape to protect me when some shit goes down, and you better be able to climb fucking 5 whatever levels of whatever to save my son out of whatever danger he's in. Be in shape, drop the vices, the things that keep you like in a state of zombie. Be present, want better for yourself so that you can level up to your wife who's improving herself. We do need men. We do need men. Women are strong mentally. And believe you me, I pushed a baby out of my vagina with no drugs at the age of 38 on my fucking bed. So we are strong, but we're just not as strong as you. We never will be. We need you to be the protectors. Now, when it comes to money, I do believe men should also make money. Like, I would never want Noah to just be an at-home dad. There's a weird imbalance that starts to happen, and a weird disrespect that you start to gain towards the man. So no, we need men, but men level the fuck up. Stop drinking, stop going out, having fun, go make some fucking money, go to the gym, get ripped so you can protect my ass.
I wish to God more men would understand that. It's not wrong to be a little bit of a narcissist in there. We got to have you back on. This was great, and I want to get more in depth about the psychology of more stuff you do. Thanks for this. This was fantastic. Guys, go up with Claude over on Instagram. Go check her stuff out. And God Create a Woman podcast. We'll see you on the next episode. This was good.
Thanks, Dominic.